It's a tradition unlike any other where we get to see who's right, who's wrong, who's smart, who's dumb, who gets to be the king of predictions this NFL playoff season. And it is time to make our predictions here on the Sports Cubicle. It is the marvelous one, Dan Marver. It is Paul Chivari, Devin Tingle. I'm Mike Mercado, and we have made it to Super Wild Card Weekend. We have made it to Super Bowl season. The NFL playoffs are here. There are some intriguing matchups, and we are going to break down, make our predictions for the first week of the playoffs, and then make our NFC, AFC championship game matchups and Super Bowl predictions. And it has been very fun the last few years doing the show with everybody here, with all you amazing listening audience, because we have seen some great predictions be made. We have seen some awesome guesses be made and some great games. But we are here to see if we can do it again, if we can sound smart once again. And I think we're going to start off with Dev. Dev, there are some really fun matchups. You have Jacksonville, Los Angeles Chargers, Baltimore Ravens, Cincinnati Bengals, Dolphins, Bills in the AFC side with the Chiefs on a bye. You have yourself the Cowboys and Buccaneers, the Giants, Vikings, the Seahawks, and Niners on the NFC side with the Eagles on a bye. What is the game? What is the matchup? What is exciting you about this wild card weekend before we get into predictions?
Well, I mean, it's definitely kind of a nice time. This is the part of the playoffs where you really see it's like what teams deserve to be here and what teams just kind of got here by dumb luck here. So you can either see some really good games or some really good blowouts here. And I think one of the games, as you briefly mentioned, I'm really interested in is the Jaguars versus Chargers, as you have two really young quarterbacks that are kind of, this is, at that point, Trevor Lawrence hasn't been here nearly as long as Justin Herbert, but this is definitely, vice versa. This is definitely the time where it's like these guys really want to put up or shut up, try and get, a little past those rookie contracts in the next few years here. And I guess especially Trevor Lawrence, who him and the Jaguars had a really pretty bad season last year, and definitely a team that can turn around. It's like, hey, look what a team's able to do with their first-round draft pick. Sorry. Foreshadowing on the next season. We're still in playoffs here. And definitely the the Buccaneers versus the Cowboys. I think that'll be another really interesting one, is we're going to see, does Tom Brady snap into regular old Tom Brady mode? Are the Dallas Cowboys really what they claim to be? Are the Dallas Cowboys really what they say they are? Or are they going to choke here? And I used to always joke back when Brady was on the Patriots with people, it's like, if the Patriots and the Cowboys met in the Super Bowl, who would you cheer for and who would you boo? And here we are getting that as just, one of our wild card weekend playoff games. But still, it's like, okay, what's America going to do? Who's really America's most hated and really America's team?
And it's funny you mention the Patriots with a Freudian slip because of Tom Brady, and it is actually a good jumping off point for my thought this entire playoffs, and even what I think might be my predictions as we move forward is Tom Brady being on this road right now. I've been saying since maybe September, October, November, for a while now, that don't let Tom Brady in the playoffs and don't let him have an easy road to the Super Bowl. And as we're breaking down these brackets, it might be just one of those Tom years. But before we get to the marvelous one of what he's looking forward to and we make our actual predictions, Paulie Dangerous, what has you excited about Wild Card Weekend? A lot of great matchups, a lot of superstars. What has you going?
Well, to piggyback off of Devin saying Chargers, Jaguars, I think everyone's looking at that matchup as probably the most interesting because you don't know which direction it's going to go. But I'm looking forward to maybe an upset in the NFC. I think as far as the AFC, I think everyone's expecting Bengals and Bills to be there. We know the matchup with the Chargers, Jags. But, can Tampa Tom win at home against a Cowboys team that's been up and down this year? Do the Giants have enough to take Minnesota? Is Minnesota that scary of an NFC team? And then Brock Purdy, the perfect streak going with the 49ers. Sure, the Seahawks could be an interesting upset, but I think we're going to get at least one, maybe two upsets out of those three games on the NFC side.
It's going to be so exciting. That's what we love about Wild Card Weekend. Marvelous. Before we make our picks, what has you excited about Super Wild Card Weekend?
Well, I like when the teams are playing for the third time, like Seahawks and 49ers, which starts it off tomorrow or on Saturday, depending upon when you're listening to me. And then I also like the fact that the Jaguars and the Buccaneers are at home because they earned it by winning their division, and they're both playing teams that are arguably better because they have better records, but they're both hot. So I think it's like a nice little twist to have these AFC and NFC South winners from weak divisions hosting against Dallas and the Chargers, respectively. And those games should be quite interesting. And, the best thing is that it's going to be Mr. Al Michaels covering the Jaguars-Chargers game. He's coming back to NBC on Saturday night, so that should be kind of cool, too. I'm looking forward to that.
And I think everybody's looking forward to getting to playoff football. And, we've talked about it on last week's edition of the Sports Cubicle after everything that happened with Damar Hamlin. And now that we're at this end of it and people are now aware of how important CPR is and what the signs of cardiac arrest and all these other things, to have football and concentrating on the best of the best and who's going to get to the Super Bowl, who's going to get the chance to hoist the Vince Lombardi trophy. It is an exciting time, and I think it is time now to make the predictions, to go out on a ledge, to put our feet to the fire. We will go around the room, and we will go through the wild card. And after the wild card weekend, we will make our NFC and AFC championship game predictions, and then our Super Bowl predictions. Because, again, if anything blows up this coming up weekend, A, fun, but B, it blows up our entire bracket. So why don't we try to see if we could get this correct? We will start off with the guys on the phone. We will start with the marvelous one. We will start with the Oracle, Dan Marver. Marvelous. Who do you have, Jaguars or Chargers?
Jaguars, but I also, I'm going to tell you that it's going to be the Bills and the Bengals playing in Atlanta, no matter what happens this weekend. But go ahead, I'll take the Jaguars. And then what do? They play Kansas City next, probably. Well,
we'll have to see, with the rebracketing, and it's going to be something we've been discussing.
I'm going to try and build a bracket for everyone as we go along here. So what he said, he was going with who first?
Jaguars over Chargers.
Jaguars over Chargers.
All right, okay. Marvelous.
And then,
in the division matchup.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, well, what about in this division matchup? You have Cincinnati and Baltimore. No Lamar Jackson, it looks like. So will Joe Cool make another run at it? Is it Bengals or is it the Ravens?
I'll go with the Bengals on that one. I mean, it's the third time they played, just like Frisco and Seattle. So it's always a challenge predicting when these teams are so familiar with each other. But I'll go with Bengals.
And it's funny because this is what we love about Super Wildcard Weekend. There is another divisional matchup. You have the Dolphins and the Bills. What do you have?
Bills. Like I say, Bills are going to the Super Bowl, but I haven't gotten that far yet.
What do you have in the NFC side? Is it Dallas? Is it Dak moving on, or is it Tom Brady?
Yeah, I can't go against Tom Brady. I'm sorry. He's going to win that game. They get an unearned home game, so they're going to win the game. Speaking
of unearned, Kirk Cousins gets all the love in the world, but this game, depending on start time, will determine, I think, a lot of people's betting posts. Who do you have, the Giants or the Vikings?
Yeah, it's a funny thing. This one I'm going with the lower seed, the Giants, believe it or not.
Look at that, your first upset pick. Okay.
Yeah.
And in another matchup, I think a lot of people are sleeping on, but it is one that you mentioned. It is the third time we will see them. It is the Seahawks. It is the 49ers. Who do you have moving on?
Well, it's kind of tricky because of the 49ers quarterback situation, but I'm going to pick them because they've been doing pretty well, even with Purdy, so I'll go with them.
All right, Marvelous. We will get back to you in a little bit so you can have a chance to think about your NFC, AFC championship games and your Super Bowl prediction. We move to Dev. Dev, we will go lightning round. Are you ready? It is time. Chargers or Jaguars?
I'm going to go Jaguars.
Ravens or Bengals?
You got to go Bengals here. It's just pretty obvious.
Bills, Dolphins?
Bills, definitely. With everything going on, how do you not root for the Bills?
Buccaneers, Cowboys.
You see what jersey I own a lot of. We're going to go Buccaneers. The Tom Brady. I mean the Buccaneers.
Giants, Vikings.
I'm going to go with Marver and say the Giants here.
And finally, 49ers, Seattle Seahawks.
I'm definitely torn here. I do think 49ers, but I'm going to say Seahawks.
Okay, all right.
49ers.
There you go.
I have a feeling I know what y'all are going to say.
I like that. No, good on you, because that gives you a chance to have a team go deep if this ends up happening. And then we move in to Pauly Dangerous. We'll see how dangerous these picks are here in the Sports Cubicle with the marvelous one, Dan Marver, Devin Tingle, Paul Chivari, and myself, Mike Mercado. We are making our predictions for the 2023 NFL playoffs as Super Wildcard Weekend is among us, is upon us. It is here, and we have the Chargers, the Jaguars. Pauly, who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Jags. I just think they're riding a hot streak right now, and Chargers with, Mike Williams possibly not being in the game and the way Brandon Staley coached Week 18. I think I got to go Jags in this one.
Bengals?
Well, can you say that word on the radio?
Bengals and the Ravens. Who do you got, Paulie?
Bengals.
Bills. Dolphins.
Bills.
So, okay, it looks like a pretty clean
having the quarterbacks out for Miami and Baltimore, so yeah, it's clean. It's chalk all the way in the AFC.
Cowboys, Buccaneers.
Cowboys. And I know that's, the history would say, why would you bet against Tom and why would you support Dallas? Because they're going to choke. I think this year the narrative turns. I think even that it is a home game at Tampa, I think Dallas has the tools to make it work. I think yeah, you're right. Tampa down the stretch has been better, and there's, Dallas on the road lost 4 of their last 6. Tampa at home won 4 of their last 5. Everything points to Tampa. I got to go with the Cowboys on this one.
I love it. Giants, Vikings. Who are you going with, Paulie?
Going to the upset. I think the Giants having some key defensive players back like Xavier McKinney, possibly Andre Jackson, Azeez Al-Azari, Leonard Williams. That could benefit. They played a close game against the Vikes just a few weeks ago without those guys. Now that they're going to have those guys back. And if Daniel Jones can matriculate a great passing game, I think it's going to be Giants all the way.
Seahawks, 49ers.
49ers all the way. I just think the only way the Seahawks would do it is if they Geno Smith kills that defense with just long ball, but I just think 49ers are too powerful of a team.
I will go speed because we only have a few minutes left in this segment. There's never enough time when we're making predictions for the Super Bowl. I will be going with the Chargers. I will be going with the Bengals. I will be going with the Bills. I will be going with the Buccaneers. I will be going with the Vikings. And I will be going with the San Francisco 49ers. So it is time. It is time. Oh, my friends, it is time. Let us start with Paulie Dangerous. Give me your NFC and AFC championship games. Give me your Super Bowl. And give me your Super Bowl champion.
All right, so my conference championship round, it's all chalk. The 1 and 2 teams on both sides. NFC, it's going to be 49ers over the Eagles. On the AFC side, Bills over Kansas City. In the Super Bowl, I've got the Bills over the 49ers. Josh Allen is going to be the MVP with the Bills winning the Super Bowl.
Dev, you hear? We have 1 Bills. Who do you have in the NFC championship game? Who do you have in the Super Bowl? Who do you have winning it all?
I'll be very disappointing here, but I guess I'm very relatable to Paul here. So I guess for Super Bowl, I'm going to start by saying it's going to be played in Arizona. I'll use Paul's getaway card from last year. But
so wait, you think the Cardinals are going to win it this year?
No, it's going to be played in Arizona, Mister. Oh, it's going to be played in L.A.
That's why I picked the Rams.
Yeah. But AFC,
okay,
I think we're
making sure you understood why I did it.
AFC, I think we're going to definitely see the Bills versus Chiefs. That's just kind of be the way it's going to go here. I got the Bills over the Chiefs, obviously. NFC going to be a little bit different here. I honestly think we're going to see New York versus Tampa Bay. And
well, wait, you would see because you had to go and mess it up and pick Seattle. New York versus Tampa Bay would be your divisional round game. So you'd have to pick Bucks Giants versus Seattle Philadelphia.
Okay, then I would go, I would say Philadelphia Giants, actually, and then we're going to see the Bills versus the Eagles in the Super Bowl, and the Bills are going to win it all because with everything happened with DeMar Hamlin, how do you root against the Bills right now?
Marvelous. We have 2 Bills. Who are you going with?
Well, I got the Bills going to the Super Bowl. I'm going to go in terms, because of the way the matchups are, the Bills won't be able to play the Bengals for the AFC, and then Atlanta. It's going to be Bills and Kansas City, chalk, and it's going to be Eagles and 49ers, and I got Eagles losing to the Bills in the Super Bowl, and the Arizona Cardinals can't be in the Super Bowl this year. By the way, I lost a bet. You got the word matriculate in today, Paul.
There you go. All right. I will bring us on home. We have 3 Bills going. In my AFC championship game, I have Kansas City and Cincinnati. In the NFC, I have Tampa Bay, San Francisco. In the Super Bowl, I have Cincinnati and Joe Burrow beating Tom Brady and his Buccaneers for the franchise's first Super Bowl win. Ladies and gentlemen, we have 3 Bills and 1 Bengals. We have a lot of fun matchups, but I think all in all, we can all agree most of us are going to look dumb at the end of these predictions. On that note, I want to thank my amazing co-hosts, Devin Tingle, Paul Chivari, Dan Marver. I'm Mike Mercado. Enjoy the rest of the show. Enjoy our interview with Christian Simpson. Enjoy Super Wildcard Weekend. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other. We got more here on the Sports Cubicle on WCPT 820 AM.